What is flying over the night skies of New Jersey? It is the $1,000,000 question that everyone is asking. And the most ironic thing about everyone being so up in arms about this is that the U.S. government already told you 5 years ago what they were doing with these drones, and everybody's just forgotten about it. After COVID hit, everybody just kicked into their survival brains and completely forgot that the U.S. government has already told the American people what these drones are and what they are for. I think they're probably scratching their heads, wondering why everyone is so upset about this when they already told you. Even this channel did an entire series on what was going on and why these drones were there and what you could expect in the future. Now, some are probably saying, are you saying they're like surveillance drones, like in the series Colony? I know you talked about that. No. Surveillance drones don't need to be giant SUV-sized things. They can do proper surveillance truly from satellites. Low-flying, very big, very heavy drones only have one use. Nobody's asking the right question, because when you ask the right question, the answer becomes apparent. Albert Einstein once said, if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask, i.e. thinking. For once I know the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. And once I show you this, everybody's like, how did we forget this? How is it that everybody's asking this question when they already answered it for us 5 years ago? Even John Kirby came out in his little quizzical address to this and said very clearly, we know what's going on. We know exactly what's going on. Does it explain every single drone sighting everywhere across America? No. But these, we know exactly what it is. Wait until I show you this. But real quick, gratitude, as always. Thank you, everyone who continues to join us over the Florida Monkey Patreon channel. Keeping the channel going is the theme. Being able to continue to put up videos almost every day. I've had to skip a few, to be honest, but I try to stay in touch with you guys as much as I can, but the Patreon channel is what's keeping it going. We got 4 different levels over there, 1, 5, 10, and 15 a month, and by the end of the weekend, we're going to have a brand new video up, and it's going to be for everybody, and we're going to continue the topic of yesterday's video in a way that you're really not allowed to talk about anymore. Asking the right question. What's the right question, Maki? Why New Jersey? Why New Jersey? If it was Iran or if it was Russia or China or there's some mothership off sea or some ridiculous nonsense like this, why New Jersey where there's this huge concentration and crush of people? Clearly, it's not a clandestine operation. In fact, very opposite, they want it to be seen. They want to see how long they can stay over heavily populated areas. Now, the idea, the bigger the drone, the heavier the cargo. The bigger the drone, the heavier the cargo. Here's a good example. I'm sure some of you might have seen this. This is an agricultural drone, and this guy gets it up to 6-8 feet. Guy walks underneath, grabs onto it, picks up full-grown man, dumps him out in the pond. Couple 100 pounds, no problem. Now, put your thinking caps on. Put your thinking caps on. Why do these drones need to be so big and so powerful? What are they carrying? Liquid. That's right. They're spraying drones. They are drones that are meant to loiter and hover and spray. Just like up in Ottawa, that deploys mosquito-killing drones to prevent the spread of some disease, West Nile virus. Here's meet DJI Agris T50, spraying up the side of a mountain and steep slopes. They go up. Now, these are much smaller than what's being seen, but what would you need to have to spray large populations of people for? Perhaps to spread a vaccine? or maybe perhaps to kill every living mosquito out there. You see, there's a disease floating around now that has the killing capacity of malaria, but spreads like the flu. You see, there would be, a lot of people don't know this, there would be no modern cities, no large populations of human beings in the southern hemisphere if malaria wasn't restricted by it only being blood-to-blood transmission, meaning mosquitoes flying around biting multiple people. And even then, it kills hundreds of thousands of people. If malaria morphed and found the ability to transmute like the flu does, there would be no people living in Brazil other than a few scattered tribes here. There'd be no Rio. There'd be no cities in Africa. There'd be probably no Mexico City. The amount of people that would, if this happened, that would die, you would need front-end loaders loading up cargo containers, being put on ships the size of oil tankers and being scuttled in the deepest parts of the ocean. We're talking billions of people would die. Kenya uses drones to kill mosquito larvae. They've already told you what they're doing. How many of you remember way back in 2019 when I reported they're spraying? They're spraying for something with large drones, and they're testing this in the United States. They're taking these massive drone fleets up. They are loading them up right now, and they are just giving it the test because they know it's coming. They know it's coming. It's called Disease X. The serious flu-like Disease X has already killed 143 people in the Congo, and a lot of people read malaria. Oh, we know how to deal with malaria. That's no problem. And that's true. We do. The reason we don't have a major malaria problem in North America is because mosquitoes, only generally speaking, live in the south, and even then we have cold enough temperatures that they don't flourish, but only part of the year. Well, down in Central and South America, that's not the case. And with malaria being blood to blood, it still kills hundreds of thousands every year. But if it goes airborne like the flu, you can kiss it goodbye, kids. It's over. And they know, and that's why they're being completely circumspect about it. That's why they're saying, hey, you know what? I remember him saying, a lot of these are just regular aircraft and, things that are just supposed to be where they are, and we don't really know, but the Army-Navy game is tomorrow, and blah, blah, blah. He just completely glossed right over it. That's how you know how serious it is. And they already told you. Go back and look at this channel's videos from 2019. We did an entire series on it. An entire series on this idea of them spraying for something. Why New Jersey? Why Connecticut? Why California? Why all blue states? Why all liberal states? States with the highest rates of vaccination, states with the highest population densities. Why? There are places out west, if they wanted to test this and you not see it, there are all sorts of places they could go and nobody would have even heard about it. Nobody would have seen a dang thing. And for those of you out there thinking about using some type of ballistic weapon to take one down, a lot of gun guys don't realize that when you start aiming weapons up in the air, the range and power decreases massively. You're not going to hit something at 3,000 feet. You're not going to hit something at 2,500 feet. And if you do happen to get some lucky lobbing shot on one of these things, it's not going to hit with any energy. If these things are strong enough and powerful enough to be carrying 100 gallons, 200 gallons, 500 gallons, the amount of energy you lose is exponential with a ballistic weapon when you fire in the air. Forget about it with a pistol. Even the most high-powered rifles when you aim straight up, lose energy at a rate that just would stun you. That's why a lot of them can fall harmlessly back to the earth at that point, once they reach apex. Why New Jersey? Why New Jersey? They're establishing the flight patterns. They're establishing the flight paths to achieve maximum spray capacity, so that when things completely fall apart, they don't have to put their own medical personnel in harm's way to go out and try and vaccinate people, or go out and try and render medical care. They can just put the drones up and they can just spray the daylights out of you, and then go back offshore to whatever Coast Guard ship they were launched from. It's just that simple. Ask the right questions, folks. Ask the right questions. Why is it so big? The only use a big drone has is for loiter time and cargo capacity. If it was simply cameras or scanning or monitoring, they can do that from an altitude that nobody on the ground would see them. They can do that from satellites. They can do that from drones that fly at 20,000, 30,000 feet. You'd never see them. If they're this close, they have to be this close for a reason. If they're this big, they have to be that big for a reason. Because they need to have massive batteries for massive power and loiter capability. And the only thing that points to just one thing and one thing only, and that's liquids. And the reason they're over, why would something big and heavy and powerful need to be able to loiter over populated areas? Put it together. It's all out there. Join us over Patreon, where we talk about getting out of your emotional brain and getting into your thinking brain and the new worlds that open up when you do that. 24 cognitive biases, 24 logical fallacies. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. See you guys next time.